to talk about prototype design pattern. Prototype design pattern is a creational pattern. It is used when the type of objects to create is determined by a prototypical instance, which is cloned to produce new objects. It is one of the best way to create an object. Prototype pattern refers to creating duplicate objects while keeping performance in mind. This pattern involves implementing a prototype interface which tells to create a clone of the current object. If you see this example of car, which is an abstract class that would be extended by Nissan and Honda, and each of them would be implementing this car to clone that object. This will help objects to be created easily, and we will use a car cache where it will have all the different types of objects based on the ID. And we could load that object using the ID that we pass. Let's build this example and see in the real time. Let me open my Visual Studio Code and create a new class called new file car.java. This would be an abstract class, public abstract class car, and implements clonable because we would like to override clone method and create a new object using that. First, let's create an abstract method called start, abstract void start, and now we will create private string ID. We would like to make it private because we do not want this ID to be modified externally. And then we would create one more variable called string type. Now let's create getters and setters for this. Create getter and setter. Similarly, create getters and setters for both get type, get ID, set type, and set ID. Now let us override or create clone method. Object clone, which will return in cloned object. Let's create an object. Clone equals null. Then we will say try. Within try block, we would say clone equals super dot clone. And catch block, try to catch clone not supported exception, E. And then E dot print stack trace to print the exception if we get any exception, and return clone object. This is a simple car class that we have created with a void start method and two variables ID and type. Now let us create a new file called honda.java, which will extend car. Here we would create a constructor Honda, and we will set the type as Honda, and we would like to override public start public void start method. Here we would like to print line, this is in Honda. if you see, there is print line Honda in Honda. Here, let's go back to type. Oh, this is private, so we need to change it to protected so that this can be accessed in a subclass Honda. So now you see this type error has gone. Now, similar to Honda, we will create one more class called Nissan.java that'll extends car and public Nissan, and type would be Nissan. And again, we would override start method, public void start. Here we would like to print out dot print line, and we would say in Nissan. So this is the second class that we have created. Now let us create a new class called car cache dot Java. So within car cache, we would like to first create a hash table, private static hash table, and the types would be string, key type would be string, and the object would be car. Equals to car map equals hash table string and car. Let's create this. This is a new hash table. So we have created a car map, and let's create public static car get car method that will have string ID. We will pass string ID to it, and within that we will create a car cache equals car map dot get ID. We'll get the object from the cache and return, and return type would be car. We are typecasting from car cache dot clone. So we are cloning that object and then typecasting it and returning that object. Let's create one more method called public static void load cache. Load cache. This will create objects and load the cache with data. Let's create a Nissan object equals new Nissan, and Nissan dot set ID, we would say 001, then car map dot put, and we would say Nissan dot get ID, comma Nissan object. Similarly, we would like to create Honda object, Honda equals new Honda, and Honda dot set ID, and this ID would be 002. Then we will put it in the map, car map dot put, and Honda dot get ID, comma Honda object. Now here we have loaded the cache with two objects, one with Nissan and the other one is with the Honda object. Now let us create the final class called prototype test. This is where we will create our main method. So prototype test. Now let us create public static void main string args, and within this method, let's first load the cache. Car cache dot load cache. This will load the objects within the cache, and now we will try to retrieve these objects based on the ID. Car1 equals return type, or typecasting would be to car, and within car cache we would like to get car with ID 001. So this would return the first object that we have inserted, and here let's print this object type. So dot print line, and the car type would be car1 dot get type. So let's try to retrieve the second car, that is car2 equals typecasted to car cache dot get car, and the ID would be 002. And now print statement, system dot out dot print line with the car details, car plus car2 dot get type. Now if you see here, first we have loaded the cache. This will load all the objects into the cache, and we are retrieving the car object from the cache, car cache dot get car, with the ID that we are passing. This will return the car that we are requesting for, and next we are printing that car. Similarly for the car2, we are passing the car2 ID, and we are retrieving the car2 and printing it. Now let us compile all these files, javac asterisk dot java, that will compile all the files within this folder, and it has created these class files. Now let us execute the main class Java. The main class is prototype test. So if you execute this, you would see that it has printed two statements. One is Nissan and the other one is Honda. So it has loaded the cache, printed these statements using those objects. So this is a very simple example of a prototype design pattern. And this could be used or extended to build complex objects and complex systems. I hope this was useful. Thank you for watching.